going on, everybody? Steve V here with another video. I hope everybody's doing well out there. And as always, appreciate you guys clicking this video and giving it a watch. It means the world to me. So, we're going to talk a little Arcade1Up new releases. You're hearing me right. There's actually some products coming out from Arcade1Up this year. Because up to this point, it's been like radio silence from Arcade1Up. We haven't really heard anything from them as far as, them doing like a 1-up show or a 1-up update. We have seen a lot of products kind of show up on their website or show up on other retailers' websites. So now we finally got a pretty good roadmap of what products to expect in 2023 from Arcade1Up. So I thought in this video it would be fun to kind of go over some of these products and kind of say yay or nay on how I feel about each of these products. Now, of course, this is based on my opinion. So there might be some stuff where I say yay to, or you might be like, what the hell, why would you want that? Where there's some other products where I may say nay to, and you may think, you know what, I actually like that product and I want to pick it up. So it's going to be fun to kind of go over all these products and kind of give my opinion. And I look forward to kind of seeing your guys' opinions on each of these products in the comments below. So we're going to get started with the first product. And the first product that we're going to talk about is the Wheel of Fortune Countercade. Now, this is a product where I actually got to commend Arcade1Up on at least trying to do something different. This year, we've seen a lot of rehashes. And this was the first product that we kind of seen something fresh and new. So right off the bat, I got to commend Arcade1Up on that. Now, I guess this product's supposed to be a little higher than 5 feet. It's got an 8-inch screen on the top and a 10-inch screen at the bottom. I guess it's touch screen, though there's obviously buttons that you can use to play the games. It's got 4 Wheel of Fortune style games, and then there's 24 unlockable games that you can get, I guess, by playing the other games. Now, the 24 games that are going to be available, I believe a lot of those games are games that you can, find on like an iPad or something like that. So the value is not really with the 24 games that you can play on this thing. The value is more with the 4 Wheel of Fortune games that they have on this actual thing. Now, it's got a light-up marquee, and the light-up marquee actually looks quite nice. Definitely something that's eye-catching. And I do understand where Arcade1Up is kind of going with this product, because something that we do tend to see in a lot of game rooms or man caves is some type of casino-style game. Those pachinko machines and stuff like that. So I do think that it is smart for them to kind of at least try to go into this market. I do think the buyer, for the most part, will be kind of like more an older crowd. This is something that I could see being sold on like, Home Shopping Network or something like that. But I could definitely see people at least wanting some type of casino game in their man cave. And this is definitely something that could qualify to take that spot. Now, something that Arcade1Up did show originally when this was coming out was I did see some like Party Cade versions. I actually think that would have been a better choice. I was actually interested in that. But it does seem like this is going to be the only style of Countercade as far as we know right now. So for that reason, I'm actually going to give it a yay, because I do think that they're onto something with this, and I do think that they will sell quite a few if it's sold through the right channels. And I think the right channels will be like a Home Shopping Network. And I think, this is something that, say they do somehow get, one of these into a Walmart, and around Christmas time, somebody's walking by and they see that, Wheel of Fortune marquee all lit up and, different lights going off and stuff like that. I could definitely see that being eye-catching and getting people, interested enough to maybe buy this product. So to me, the Wheel of Fortune Countercade is definitely a yay. But, is it something that I'm planning on buying? Not necessarily. If they do come out with like a Party Cade version, I've never been interested in Party Cades before, but that might be one that I might actually think about buying. So the next cabinet that we're going to talk about is the Big Buck Hunter Deluxe cabinet. Now, this is a cabinet that I was actually kind of excited for when I saw it kind of leaked on that retailer's website. I can't remember the name of the retailer, but when we saw that, it was coming, I was kind of interested to see what they were going to do to this cabinet to kind of upgrade it. The one thing that, a lot of us thought they would kind of do is maybe make the Big Buck Hunter an XL, but then we saw they weren't going to do that when we obviously saw the deluxe label on the title of this cabinet. So that was something where we were kind of like, oh, okay, it's probably going to be like a 17-inch monitor, so they're not going to upgrade that, but there'll probably be some other upgrades that will kind of make it worth maybe somebody, selling their old cabinet to kind of upgrade to that one, or just kind of entice people to buy that cabinet that maybe missed out on the first one. Well, when we actually saw this cabinet get announced on the Arcade1Up website, there's almost little to no upgrades done to this cabinet. Looks like it's the same guns, again, 17-inch monitor, no light up marquee. Like, I don't know what they were thinking by not adding a light up marquee to this cabinet. The first time they announced Big Buck Hunter, they basically made it sound like they couldn't put the light up marquee because they thought it could affect the Sinden light gun technology. But we know that's not the case. People started adding their Retro 530, light up marquees like I did, no issues. T2 came out. There was no issues with that having a light up marquee. So it just made no sense when this one got announced and we saw that it had no light up marquee again. Just complete laziness and Arcade1Up kind of cheapening out on something that, they knew the people in their community wanted. So that kind of, definitely was a downer when I saw that it had no light up marquee. They did add a coin door, which looks nice. They did make it obviously taller, which is a huge plus because that cabinet was quite small. I actually had to add a buy stuff store extender to my riser to get it to a height to play comfortably. So the fact that they brought it up like 8 inches, that's a good move. I'll commend them on that. But everything else about this cabinet is pretty much the same. They didn't really change anything. So to me, this is actually a nay. I would say this is actually a negative. If you're somebody that doesn't have this cabinet, I can see some value in buying it. But if you're someone that already owns this cabinet, there's no need to upgrade. If you're somebody that's, interested in the Big Buck Hunter games, if the other one's still available and it's cheaper, I probably would go that route. But then again, if you're going to add the light up marquee and the riser extender, you're going to be, adding some cost. So maybe it's better to go with the deluxe cabinet. It's kind of up to you because the deluxe cabinet does add, some height. And that is something that cabinet desperately needed. But in the end, it is still a nay from me. I'm disappointed that they didn't, go the extra mile to really make this cabinet a little bit more upgraded. And if they did, I might have even considered upgrading, but they didn't do it. So I'm sticking it out with my original one. And if you have a Big Buck Hunter, stick it out with your original one as well, because there's just no value in upgrading to this one. But if you missed out on Big Buck Hunter and you are looking to pick up that cabinet, it is a really fun cabinet. It's one of my favorite cabinets that I own, so that's where you might have some value in buying the deluxe cabinet. So NBA Jam Deluxe Edition is the next cabinet we're going to talk about. And the first thing that I want to say is this cabinet looks phenomenal. I really love how the original artwork looks on this form factor, with the addition of the coin door, just seeing that classic NBA Jam artwork that we kind of missed out on with that XL cabinet when they did the Shaq Edition cabinet. This is what an NBA Jam cabinet should look like, and they really hit it out of the park with this. I like the fact that they put the Tournament Edition marquee on there. Something a little bit different, but not going too far away from what we would expect. So I commend them on that. It's got the same 3 games, so I guess they want to just keep it to the 3 and basically kind of have this be a cab of, if you missed out on the first NBA Jam cabinet, this is your chance to kind of get it again, but just in a better form factor. I gotta say this one's a yay. I really do like the way it looks. I know it's not really adding a lot of extra value because it is basically the same as every NBA Jam cabinet that they've put out. But that form factor is enough for me to kind of give it a yay. Obviously, this is my opinion. So, I do feel like it is something that if you missed out on NBA Jam, this is like the cabinet to get. If you do have the old NBA Jam and you're looking to upgrade, you will be getting quite the aesthetic, facelift, something that really makes it look, very classic and very arcade accurate. And I think that's enough to kind of give it a yay from me. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the NBA Jam Party Cade. Now, for me, I'm already going to tell you it's an A for me because I just don't understand NBA Jam and a one-player form factor. Just doesn't make sense for me. Like, this is a game that's meant to be played with someone else. And because the Party Cade doesn't have Wi-Fi, you're just playing by yourself. So I just don't understand, the reason for it being in a Party Cade version, though I do think it looks nice, and I like the fact that they went with the old school artwork. I'll commend them on that, but the actual, one player control deck and the fact that there's no Wi-Fi on this cabinet, it's very simple for me. It's definitely a nay. So the next cabinet we're going to talk about is the Atari 50th Anniversary cabinet, which is in a deluxe form factor. Now, this popped up on Wayfair, and it's got the exact same 14 games that were in your last Legacy cabinet. It has over 40 plus 2,600 Atari games, and basically it kind of has somewhat of a shape that looks like it was maybe supposed to be an Asteroids cap, but then they decided to kind of go this route of, the custom 50th anniversary, artwork that to me kind of makes the cabinet look like it's an ATM that would be in a construction site. It just, I don't know what they were thinking. I get that they're kind of playing off the artwork that was seen on the Atari 50th anniversary console game. It had that artwork, and I think that's what they're kind of like going off of. But to me, I think it's a miss not trying to recreate some of your classic titles that, you have within those 14. You could have made it look like an Asteroids cabinet. You could have made it look like a Crystal Castles. You could have made it look like a Missile Command. That was like the most rumored version of what people thought the newest Atari Deluxe cab was going to be. So the fact that they went, custom and kind of went custom with like the control panel as well, it's just not something I'm interested in. So that's why it's a huge nay for me. Whenever they get away from, recreating a cabinet and go more this custom route, it's not for me. And it's not for a lot of us hardcore arcade fans. This is more for the casual audience that might be walking by, a Walmart, and they just see, the Atari, logo with, 50th anniversary, and then they see that, there's going to be multiple games on this thing, 14 arcade classics, over 40 plus Atari console, games. And maybe that's something that might interest them enough to, pick up this thing because they'll feel like there's value. But to me, once you kind of get away from, like I said, recreating an actual cabinet that I grew up on, and once you get kind of a way of just keeping, arcade games and you start adding like console games onto a cabinet, I'm done. And that's why I have to give this one a nay. And it's actually pretty disappointing that they didn't, do Atari the way that they should have, because Atari is such a classic arcade staple. And when you have so many classic titles that you could really recreate, I feel like they're doing Atari a disservice by going this route. And again, this is based on my opinion. I know there were some people that liked it. I know there were some people that didn't, just like me. But to me, it's definitely a nay. So another thing that we saw on Wayfair was the Class of 81 Countercade. Now, I've kind of got away from the Countercades just because I've bought, I think, 3 Countercades over the time of me collecting Arcade1Up cabinets, and every single time I end up selling it like a year later. It's just not something that really works for me. I like more the 3/4 scale version because it makes me feel like I'm actually playing on an arcade cabinet, where those ones are more for, if you don't have a lot of room. And I'm lucky enough that with my basement, I do have the space. So countercades aren't really for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm giving this a nay. I actually like this miniature version of the class of 81. I have a special place in my heart for any Namco cabinet. PacMan, class of 81, Miss PacMan, the Dig Dug that they did, the Galaga 40th anniversary that they did. Like, whenever they do anything Namco, just because I'm such a big Namco fanboy of those classic Namco titles from the 80s, I always have a little bit of interest in that product. And even though I don't plan on buying this, I'm definitely going to give it a yay, because I know it's got 8 great titles on there that will be really fun for people to play. And I could definitely, see this thing being a hit if someone were to buy this and maybe have it like in their cottage, or have it in their office, on their desk. I think it would be a really fun cabinet to play, and I actually like the way it looks. So the next product that we're going to talk about is something that actually excites me, and that's the XL PacMan cabinet that was seen at a Costco randomly the other day. And the fact that they are still continuing with the XL line, and the fact that they went with the PacMan has me very excited. Not so much because I plan on picking it up. I'm actually more of a person that prefers the 3/4 scale cabinets. I just find them easier to move. It's at a height that is comfortable for me to play. I'm only 5'8". They don't take up as much room. But I know that people love the XL form factor. And I got excited knowing that they're keeping this form factor going. So that was the first reason I got excited. But the other reason I got excited is because it was a PacMan. I'm a huge PacMan fan. And if there was any XL that I would almost consider buying, it would be a PacMan cabinet. I love the way this thing looks from the front. I understand that we had, the price and, the label with all the info kind of covering the marquee. So we couldn't see the full marquee, but you get a pretty good idea of how it looks. Obviously, it is a very big marquee. It's got light up buttons. That's a little extra that they decided to put. Is it needed? Probably not. I don't know why they would put them in there, but I guess they feel like it gives it a little bit of value. It's got the same 14 titles that were on the last Legacy cabinet that, they came out with. That was a Namco cabinet. But I'm just really happy that they're keeping this XL form factor going for the people that want it. And I feel like a PacMan cabinet is definitely a staple in almost everybody's collection. So the fact that they're going with PacMan, I get it. I definitely understand why they went back to the well with this one. And I think it's going to sell quite well, especially at that $5.99 American price point. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we're getting this here in Canada, but maybe it might find its way here somehow, whether it's through Wayfair, that would probably cost an arm and a leg, or somehow maybe one of our retailers might get a hold of it. But I definitely think this thing's a plus, and I give it a yay, and I think it's going to sell very, very well. So the last cabinet that we're going to talk about is something that's not 100% official yet, but we did see it show up on a retailer's website, and Arcade1Up did accidentally leak the game list on their own app, which they have since removed, but people took pictures, and we all know with the internet, once things show up on the internet, it's never quite gone. So people know Time Crisis cabinet's coming, and now we actually seen a physical image of what this cabinet's going to look like. Though we did see a leak of this cabinet like months ago, and people are saying it's actually pretty much the same cabinet, just at a different angle. Either way, I think it looks good for the most part. I think it would have benefited from a coin door, but other than that, I actually think the cabinet looks quite good. It's going to have 4 games: Time Crisis, Point Blank, Steel Gunner 1, and Steel Gunner 2. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with any of these games. Other than Time Crisis, I do feel like I played that at some point in my life. I just can't remember when, and I can't remember where. But it definitely looks very familiar to me, and it's definitely a very iconic cabinet, and I'm glad they're kind of going this route, you know, something fresh, something new, and they're really trying to make the cabinet look as close as possible to the original cabinet. Obviously, they can't quite get the front of the cabinet the way the original one is because it does stick out quite a bit. And they have two guns on the cabinet where the original Time Crisis only has one. But of course, they have other games on the cabinet, so they have to try to modify it to make it all work. But I think it's a positive, and I'm actually going to give this cabinet a yay right off the bat because it's something fresh and something new. Um, a lot of people are pretty excited about this cabinet. You know, we only have two other gun cabinets that came out from Arcade1Up. We have Big Buck Hunter, which they're obviously re-releasing again, which I actually think is a great cabinet, but I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. And then we have Terminator 2, which if you're not 100% into that game, you didn't buy that cabinet because there was only one title on that game, and that was Terminator 2. They did have to kind of modify how you play the game because, of course, they couldn't keep the guns, you know, on the actual cabinet because it's too tight. So, you know, they made it so that you could take the guns out and basically play it like, you know, a light gun game. So that is something that, you know, you did have to think about when purchasing that cabinet. But Time Crisis does seem like something that a lot of people are excited for, and probably the gun game that's going to end up probably in most people's collections. So definitely a yay from me. Of course, price point is definitely a factor, so we'll see what it ends up being priced at. But definitely nice having something new and something fresh. I like the way the cabinet looks. I like that it still has the pedal because there was rumors that they were taking the pedal away and you're basically going to have to use the gun to kind of do some of the movements. But it looks like they're giving you the option. You can either use the gun or the pedal. So that's a plus. Hopefully the pedal is a durable pedal. And yeah, very exciting finally getting something new from Arcade1Up. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and this look at some of the new products coming out from Arcade1Up and kind of my opinion on if they are worth purchasing. You know, again, my yays and nays might not necessarily align with yours, but I look forward to kind of hearing your guys' opinions on what you guys think of these cabinets. Again, I know the Atari one was one that I was not a fan of, but I know there are some people that are really excited for that cabinet. Where, you know, something like the, you know, Class of 81 Countercade, you know, some people are like, this is a waste of time. Where I actually think that was a pretty good idea, and I think it'll be fun to play. So, you know, it's always interesting kind of hearing everyone's opinion, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys my opinion. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a wonderful day, and keep gaming.